though this film has been edited for television. Parents may consider some scenes too disturbing for some young viewers. Parental guidance is therefore suggested.
Children knew, though, it was all they could do to cry out, seeking some sense of security from their mother, their father. All for naught. It was only a millisecond and then the flash came.
I think you'll like this house.
Isn't this supposed to be haunted?
Haunted? What an absurd idea. I mean, what would a ghost be doing here? Haunted.
David. No other diet soft drink delivers the real cola taste of 1-calorie Diet Coke. The real one. It's lifting more and more spirits every day.
Just for the taste of it.
The move is on to Diet Coke.
Diet Coke.
Our story begins in a local school auditorium. Children of different ages and grades were standing after the performance had ended on stage. They lingered around waiting for their parents, then left into the hallway. In the distance, they could hear a faint sound of an air raid siren going off over and over again. They thought it was only a weather test or something. It couldn't be a real war alert, but they soon found out it was. At home, a mother and her children were outside enjoying the afternoon sunshine, watching them wander in the yard. She heard that air raid siren too, but thought it was only a weather test or something. Her older children didn't seem to care though. In those fleeting moments, they never knew what was about to happen to them. Her youngest children knew though, it was all they could do to cry out, seeking some sense of security from their mother, their father. All for naught. It was only a millisecond and then the flash came.
I'm Bob Holland of Braco. Suppose you're driving home from work when suddenly something goes wrong with your brakes. You drive carefully to a nearby Braco, but it's nearly 6 and they're getting ready to close. What happens? Well, if you know Braco, you know that we'll do emergency brake repairs even though it's closing time. Sure, we'd rather go home at 6, but we'd rather be a little bit late than for you not to get there at all. For more than 20 years, Braco has been there when you needed us.
Trust Braco. We're the brake people. WTSP Channel 10, St. Petersburg, Tampa.
Seeing the flash, she knew instinctively to cover her eyes, yelling to her oblivious children to get down on the ground as fast as they could. When the flash died down, they all rushed into their house to escape the blast wave that would follow. With no electricity, the children and the mother tried every way possible to survive, to entertain themselves, and to wait out what would happen next. The days ticked by, the children lived on what was left in the house refrigerator, then the canned foods, what little water was still in the pipes. As you know, all utilities would be inoperative and most don't know if and when they would be available again. The oddest thing that happened after the event took place was how the children's mentalities began changing, and for the worst. The youngest children began having odd seizures, convulsing and gyrrating around with no way of knowing what they were doing. Only the mother knew it was a direct result of radiation exposure from the bomb. The longer they were exposed to the alpha, beta, and gamma rays from the fallout dust that was falling outside, the more they would get sicker and sicker. Besides radiation sickness and its known effects, it also caused children's mental capacities to falter. They began standing on their heads, wanting that rush of blood to get directly to their heads where the blood wasn't circulating from the results of the radiation on their circulatory systems. They literally became what most people loved in horror films, walking zombies. It wasn't funny though, these are children and not actors. This home had no basement, so there was no way of obtaining more protection from the radiation that was falling. The only good advantage they had was that their home was in a low ravine where the blast didn't reach their home. Thereby, it wasn't destroyed by the heat or overpressure. It might have protected them but not long term. It was only a prolonging of their eventual illnesses they were beginning to experience now after 6 months post-atomic event. News was non-existent. No utilities meant, they wouldn't be getting power, phone, water, or any necessary requirements to prolong life. They had only what they had in their home to live on. Without these imperative items, sickness would be inevitable. Sometime before Thanksgiving, power was restored to some areas that weren't severely damaged by the blast. One such area was this, and the mother was happy to have light again. At this point, she was able to use the radio and receive information from civil defense. They told all survivors to stay inside and not to leave under any circumstances. The life items needed would be coming, according to the government, but they wouldn't say when that would happen. Only to conserve whatever they still had in their homes. After the power was restored, a man came to her door wearing rad gear. They asked how the children were and how she was holding up, which he said they were doing as much as they could to survive. The supplies they gave her were much appreciated, and she told them, if they could get any more to please send it to them for the children. With supplies, some effects from the radiation did subside, but the exposure had done some brain damage to her youngest daughter and son. They wouldn't never recover from the effects of the radiation, but her older daughter and herself had a much better chance to surviving by keeping themselves as far away from outside walls of the house as possible, according to what the government surveyors had told her. She did what they said to do, and it seems she was holding up pretty well so far.
Watch real close now, take a lesson. Lax goes fast, it's like a blessing. Giving Lax won't treat you wrong, cause when it's Lax, it's gone. Fact is, Lax is country good. Use fresh lean meat just like you would. Nothing in Lax don't belong, so when it's Lax, it's gone. The Lax boys don't add nothing to like-it lean cold cuts they shouldn't. No fillers, no extenders, just leaner meat for real meaty taste. One more time, when it's Lax.
Norman!
Yes, Mother?
What is this?
It's pizza, Mother.
Half cheese and half pepperoni?
Half for you and half for me. Just the way we like it.
So, someone delivered this pizza. You know what happens when we have visitors.
It's not delivery, Mother.
Don't lie to me, boy!
No, Mother. It's DiGiorno.
Our new half-and-half pizza keeps everyone in the family happy. It's not delivery. It's DiGiorno.
Such a good boy.
Yes.
As the weeks waned on, the mother found herself going more and more insane trying to keep the kids happy, playing games and doing other things with the electricity being restored, but she was running out of things to do with them. The most important time of the day was the naps, when she could rest herself while the kids tried to in their beds. What made it the hardest task was that she couldn't let them go outside. It was agony, seeing them wither away physically because you can't do much in the house when they wanted to run and play outside. She would keep telling them, the ash they see falling was radioactive fallout, not snowflakes. The evening meal was the most important time for her. This was when she could take time to ask each child how they felt and tell a story they might love to hear. It passed the time by and gave them something to occupy their minds on instead of being depressed about how things were going around them. One day, it isn't clear when, something happened. She had the television on while they were eating at the table and heard something come over the channel they usually watched. It was an announcement that the war everyone had experienced had been caused by a global event called a New World Order. She had never heard of such a movement and she didn't want to tell her children about it either, no reason being more worried than they felt already. Gradually they began getting things from the government that she didn't agree with, but she had to accept. The global leader, who she heard and saw on television each night, told her that, for the world to survive under current conditions, everyone would have to change how they felt about the world they lived in and how it would progress beyond this tragedy they had experienced already. So, some things people always accepted as normal would have to change for the good of everyone. One was a change in philosophy about a personal choice that some had heard about in the early 1980s called homosexuality. Now, to make them more accepted into the New World Order, everyone would have to dress and be like they were. She didn't want this for her children, but the more they talk about it on the television, the more she knew it was becoming a part of everything, and every thought they made was more and more a sense of brainwashing on society than a choice. They started saying every single day, if we all dress alike, then we'll all be seen the same and equal. It sounded a lot like the things she had been taught in school in the 1950s, that socialism was an idea that Nazi Germany had forced on society and it resulted in a type of new world order under Adolf Hitler's National Socialist Party.